Bombshell breaking news. It is being reported that Donald Trump is having an emergency meeting in the White House right now ahead of a potential release of the Epstein files. They're panicking in the Oval Office over the fallout, what could be. I just spoke with a major leader on this issue, Congressman Ro Khanna, and I asked him what they're doing in the White House and what could happen if they try to alter these files to absolve Trump of any wrongdoing. Take a look at what he had to say. The full interview is going to be on my YouTube later today. We have seen the way, though, this administration has been altering federal documents, manipulating data, whether it's job numbers or potentially violating the Hatch Act with government websites. Are we being naive to assume that if there is a vote on releasing the Epstein files, they haven't already combed through to try and absolve Trump of any wrongdoing? They said they might even be having a meeting at the White House today about this.
Well, look, first of all, there are lawyers of the survivors who've seen the Epstein files, and there are a lot of people at Justice who are no longer there who've seen the files. So we would have some sense if their files were severely doctored. And then there are documents that the estate has that they're also releasing. So if they release documents that were doctored and the estate released contradictory documents, that would be very problematic. But the issue here is not to go after just Donald Trump. It's to go after a class of people who are rich and powerful, who abused young girls, and who thought that they could get away with anything. That if you have wealth, extreme wealth in this country, and you know a bunch of politicians, the rules don't apply. And the American people are tired of it.
There is some good news today. That Mike Johnson is finally going to have to swear in his worst nightmare in the form of Adelita Grijalva, who will be the 218th vote to release the Epstein files. And out of that 218, 6 of those votes come from Republicans. And allegedly today, Trump is working overtime to threaten them and tell them to remove their names from the discharge petition, including Lauren Boebert, who allegedly he called personally and has now been summoned to the White House today to be convinced to remove her name, which she says she will not do. Gee, why do you think they don't want those files released? Could it have anything to do with this story that dropped today? Epstein alleged in emails that Trump knew of his conduct? Could that be part of it? House Democrats on Wednesday released emails in which Jeffrey Epstein wrote that President Trump had, quote, spent hours at my house, unquote, and Mr. Trump knew about the girls. I believe this is the actual quote. Of course he knew about the girls. Of course he did. Of course he fucking did. He's sweating today, and he should be, along with a bunch of other people who are in those files who have been protected thus far. Release the Epstein files.
Donald Trump is in panic mode this morning with the discharge petition to release the Epstein files about to get its 218th signature from Democratic Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva from Arizona's 7th Congressional District, who will be sworn in right now to become the official Congresswoman from Arizona's 7th Congressional District. Not only Trump panicking, MAGA Mike panicking, all of MAGA Republican leadership is freaking out this morning, and their freak out is compounded by the Democratic House Oversight Committee leaders, led by Ranking Member Robert Garcia, releasing those additional emails they uncovered from the Epstein estate. Some date back to 2011, where Jeffrey Epstein was emailing Ghislaine Maxwell saying that Donald Trump is basically the dog that hasn't, quote, barked yet, and he had been at the house with a victim and knew what was going down, it seems. There were also other emails released where Epstein referred to Donald Trump as a very dirty guy who has done very dirty things, or words to that effect. I'll go through that in a moment, but Donald Trump's been frantically on the phone. He's been calling Lauren Boebert, MAGA Republican Congresswoman from Colorado. He's been calling Nancy Mace, MAGA Republican Congresswoman from South Carolina. And according to all the reporting, he's been saying, please, please take your name off the discharge petition. Please, you can't be on that. We can't have these files getting out. He's tried threats. He's tried charm. He's tried everything. He's called an emergency meeting, folks, in the White House, where he said, Boebert, why don't you come to the White House and let's all have a meeting together? This From CNN exclusive, Trump administration plans meeting over House effort to force release of Epstein files. The top Trump administration officials. He's calling all the top people from Attorney General Pam Bondi, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, FBI Director Kash Patel, Lauren Boebert come in as well, and lots of other cabinet officials. We need to meet. This is a 3-alarm fire. This is an emergency. We're all meeting in the White House. Unclear what has taken place from that meeting, but this is clearly terrifying the Trump regime. MAGA Mike Johnson came out with a statement. He goes, this is another publicity stunt by the Democrats. They're trying to mislead the people. He's referring to the release of those emails between Epstein and Ghislaine and Epstein and Michael Wolff, the author who we've had here on the Midas Touch Network before. He goes, I'll refer you to the Oversight Committee response by the Republicans. And they say this is a bunch of cherry-picked emails. This is all about clickbait and that Democrats are not being serious about it. But Johnson downplaying the release of these emails. From the White House press secretary, she goes, Caroline Leavitt, chief propagandist, she goes, the Democrats selectively leaked emails to the liberal media to create a...
We have another bombshell email coming out of the Jeffrey Epstein estate files that have been released by House Oversight Democrats today. This is one that Donald Trump really didn't want the public to see, but here it is. On August 23, 2018, Jeffrey Epstein sends a Kathy Lumiere quote, you see, I know how dirty Donald is. My guess is that non-lawyers, New York business people have no idea what it means to have your fixer flip. This is referring to they're having a back and forth conversation about Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's former fixer and former lawyer, back in 2018. The steady drip of Epstein documents that we're seeing today is only getting worse for the President of the United States, and he is desperately trying to stop them. And it really seems as though the day of reckoning is coming for the President. Whether or not these files are ever actually fully released from the Justice Department, House Republicans will be on record as soon as this evening, and we'll have more updates soon. I'll provide you more updates. Spread the word. Full updates on my Substack linked in bio, so subscribe for free. Follow along to stay updated on all the news that you need to know about. Much more to come soon.
If you think Donald Trump is innocent, I have one question for you. Would you leave him alone with your daughter or your granddaughter, knowing what was said in those emails? Or do you just believe him because he said he didn't do it and it wasn't your granddaughter or daughter that was victimized? Every time he says this is a hoax, it is a slap in the face to every single victim of Jeffrey Epstein out there. This is not a hoax. This was not made up by the Democrats to make him look bad. He made himself look bad by being involved with Jeffrey Epstein. And he knows it, which is why he doesn't want those files released. What is in those files is so much worse than any of us can even imagine. This is the tip of the iceberg. If it was not the tip of the iceberg, he would not be fighting like hell to keep those files from being released. And I hope all the people who are helping him cover this up, and that is what this has all been all year, is a massive attempt to keep these files from being released because he knows how bad they are. Understand that when this all goes down, they will be just as guilty and complicit in covering up his crimes. Someone who's innocent would not be frantic to keep those files from being released.
A number of emails from Epstein about Donald Trump have been released today. Initially, Democrats released several email correspondences of Epstein where he clearly states that Donald Trump knew what was going on at his house. Shortly after that, Republicans released 20,000 emails from Epstein about a whole wide range of things. Now, that's not the same thing as releasing the Epstein files. It's a really confusing thing because what happened is several months ago, Congress subpoenaed a bunch of emails from the Epstein estate, and that's what's been released today. First, the handful of pieces released by the Democrats, and then a flood of emails from the Republicans. And the discharge petition is still in play. According to sources, and I'm going to put them at the end of this, Donald Trump himself has been pressuring Nancy Mace and Lauren Boebert, two Republican women who have signed on to the discharge petition, asking them to back down off of the discharge petition. That's because any second now, Adelita Gravala is going to be sworn in as a member of Congress, and she's going to sign that petition, giving it enough signatures to force the release of the Epstein files. The Epstein files that the discharge petition seeks to have released are actually the documents that were discovered during the Epstein trial. And people believe that there is some documentation about how he ran his trafficking business and that it might implicate the president further. So for me, that's actually part of the confusion. It's like, what's the difference between the emails and the files? And what are things that Congress already has? And what are things that they want to release? So if that's confusing to you too, it's confusing to me, and I hope it cleared it up just a little bit. Needless to say, the length that Donald Trump and Republicans are going to keep all of this under wraps is damning in and of itself.
So we have major breaking news, as we know that with the vote of the Arizona representative, that this was going to be in a full effect, the Epstein vote. And we see that POTUS called on Lauren Boebert as well as Nancy Mace to be like, hey, like, take your name off that list. No, we don't need to vote on it. No. Well, Nancy Mace did not answer the call. However, she did tweet, and she does seem to be, maybe she will. It does seem to appear to be that she may take her name off the list because she's not holding the women accountable. They think that, oh, well, why Trump? Why is it only him? No, those women, they're at fault. So we'll see what happens. Laura Boebert, though, seems like she's like, no, I'm going to stay firm on this. So we'll see what happens. All I gotta say is that if you were not a part of the Epstein files at all, then why are you trying so hard to cover it up? Because you are going to grave lengths to make sure that it gets covered up. And, you know, like I said, if you weren't a part of it, you wouldn't care.
The White House is panicking.
Breaking news, CNN has learned there will be a meeting today inside the White House as aides try to manage a potential House vote on the release of the Epstein files. This comes, of course, just hours after Democrats on the Oversight Committee released emails from Jeffrey Epstein himself mentioning Donald Trump by name multiple times. I want to get straight to CNN's Caitlin Polans. Caitlin, what are you learning?
What one source tells me is that this meeting was planning to include some key figures from the Justice Department, the FBI Director Kash Patel, the Attorney General Pam Bondi, the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, and then one of those Republicans in support of transparency, Republican Representative Lauren Boebert of Colorado.
Well, let me get this straight. They're meeting with Kash Patel, the FBI Director who told FBI agents to flag any Epstein records that mention Donald Trump's name. They're also meeting with Attorney General Pam Bondi, who was the person who originally told Trump that his name appeared multiple times in the Epstein files. That meeting is also including Todd Blanche, the United States Deputy Attorney General. By the way, on July 24th was the top Department of Justice official to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell, the same chick who was sentenced to 20 years in prison for conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to also sexually abuse minors. By the way, all of a sudden, after that meeting with Todd Blanche, decided she wanted to make a statement saying that she never saw Donald Trump in any inappropriate setting with Jeffrey Epstein. And suddenly, after that statement, started getting custom meals and puppy time with other prison benefits in jail. And then there's Lauren Boebert from Colorado, who's now apparently attending this emergency meeting. And a lot of people are like, well, what the fuck is she doing there? All of this has to do with the discharge petition. All 213 Democrats have already signed the discharge petition, and 4 Republicans have signed on, including Lauren Boebert. Once again, Adelita Grijalva getting sworn in today, finally after 7 weeks, will be the 218th vote to make sure that they can release all of the Epstein files. But they're inviting Lauren Boebert into that emergency White House meeting because they're trying to flip her to change her vote to a no. And apparently new reporting is showing that Donald Trump himself is calling Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace, both of them, to try to change their votes to no. These are the fucking great lengths that Donald Trump is willing to go to make sure that these files never see the fucking light of day. What the fuck are you hiding?
If Trump were to be in the Epstein files, and that's a very big if.
I'm sorry, if. Did they not look at the emails today? When did they ask this question? If he said he was going to sue, that's when you know. When Trump comes out, he says, I'm going to sue Rupert Murdoch for insinuating that it's... When was the last time you heard about that lawsuit? It's gone. It's gone. Because he's in it.
Yes. Do you think he would lose any support?
No.
Really?
It's really hard to imagine.
Do you guys... Jillian, you think he might?
Yeah, I feel like if there was like we already have hit the threshold where it should be disqualifying with so many things with him. It's like, what else would you need to see? Like, this guy was like one of his best friends. Like, there's photos of them together. There's videos of them together ogling at young women. Like, we've seen what we need to see. So I don't know what else could possibly
That's right.
push the needle here.
I have seen more pictures of them together than with like some of my best friends. Like they have more of a scrapbook with each other than many of the people that I'm great friends with.
But here's the thing. How do the Republicans spin this? Like, how does he get out of this?
The way he gets out, like I've always said, it's Wile E. Coyote versus the Roadrunner. And every time we keep thinking 34 felonies, that'll get him. Oh my God, that thing he said on Access Hollywood. And every time Trump just comes in and goes, meep, meep, and flies away. And I think it's the same thing. You could have it could be the pictures of him and illegal sex trafficked women from Epstein in a like forced human caterpillar or Ouroboros, and they'd find a way to say, well, but Hunter Biden's laptop was, worse, and Burisma, and it's fake, and none of it ever happened. Jillian's exactly right. Everything we need to know about it is real, is that it is plausible because of the relationship that they had. That wasn't his like softball buddy. That was his international model buddy. That's what they did together. They weren't bingo friends. They weren't backgammon friends. They didn't play pickleball. They played tickleball.
Oh no.
Yeah, I shouldn't have. It just came to me as I was talking about it.
Okay, things are getting interesting with the Epstein files real quick, and I want to tell you what's happening right now and then tell you how we're going to address it if things go the way I think they're going to go. I'm sure you heard about the super damning emails. They came out this morning, and then another tranche of emails just came out, and they're all just really gross and really directly point to how deeply involved in this entire situation Trump was, and how Epstein knew he was involved, and Ghislaine Maxwell knew he was involved and knew that they could use that as leverage over Trump. And the Trump administration is clearly in full panic mode. So they are planning a meeting over the House effort to force the release of the Epstein files, especially in light of these new emails. And it's going to be Todd Blanche and Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and also Lauren Boebert, who they clearly have decided is the weak link in the 4 Republicans who have signed onto this discharge petition, which will lead to the release of the Epstein files. So they're going to try to pull her signature. They're going to probably threaten her. That's what these people do. These people are threateners. They're strong armors. Virginia Giuffre, when she started coming out with information about what Jeffrey Epstein had done to her, people came to her house. They threatened her children. It's serious. These people don't mess around. So they're going to threaten Lauren Boebert with something, and she may come off. And if she does, you guys, this fight is not over, because we have an election on December 2nd where we can flip a seat and elect another Democratic House member. It happens to be a fantastic candidate named Afton Bain. This is in Tennessee's 7th district. This is a seat that normally we would consider a little out of reach, but under the circumstances right now, we can absolutely flip it. The DNC has gotten involved. Indivisible is working really hard. And Afton has promised, hell yes, I will be another signature on that discharge petition. So they can try to peel Lauren Boebert off. But we are going to elect another Democrat who will make up for her signature. And we are going to keep the pressure on, because Trump is involved in this. He's filthy. And all of these Trump voters who said, we care about this so much, we want those files to come out. No, you don't get to turn away now that you know that your guy is in the thick of it. We're going to get these files to come out. We're going to elect Afton Bain so she can help. And we are going to keep fighting you guys. They are panicking, and you just love to see it.
Speaker of the House Mike Johnson finally caved and did the right thing after 7 weeks of delaying the swearing in of Representative Adelita Grijalva for a few reasons. Number one, to try to delay the release of the Epstein files. Number two, to try to gain some sick leverage during this shutdown and use this as a pawn. But finally, Adelita Grijalva is in. I want to show you the video of a shaky, out-of-breath Mike Johnson swearing in Representative Adelita Grijalva because he understands the long-term consequences for both him and the Republican Party when their ringleader is slowly outed as a pedophile with this drip feed of emails that we are getting, emails that even made it to Fox News. I mean, Fox News is broadcasting in front of the entire nation, all of the conservatives in the country, Jeffrey Epstein's emails to Ghislaine Maxwell and journalist Michael Wolff. This reads, quote, I want you to realize that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim spent hours at my house with him. Has never once been mentioned. This is Jeffrey Epstein emailing this to Ghislaine Maxwell, saying that Donald Trump is the dog that hasn't barked, that he spent hours with a victim. It's the same victim that was groomed out of the Mar-a-Lago spa in the early 2000s. We'll talk about that more in a second, but again, Representative Adelita Grijalva is sworn in through a shaky Mike Johnson. I'll explain why he's nervous in 1 second.
Will Representative-elect Grijalva and members of the Arizona delegation present themselves in the well, and all members will rise. And the representative-elect will raise her right hand.
He didn't want to do this.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which you are about to enter, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations, you're now a member of the next Congress.
The longest delay in American history because the Republicans knew what was coming afterwards. Today, we got more emails. Jeffrey Epstein wrote in another email, quote, "Would you like photos of Donald and girls in bikinis in my kitchen?"
In news that's surprising to absolutely no one, Trump's name was mentioned multiple times in Jeffrey Epstein's emails. In fact, one email literally mentioned a woman who spent hours at Epstein's house with Trump. I would like to use this opportunity to challenge people like Riley Gaines, whose entire personality is fighting to keep trans people out of women's sports, or maybe someone like Joey Swoll, who just sided to keep a trans person out of the locker room. If people like you with such large platforms really care about protecting women, now would be a really great time to call out Trump. You know, the man accused by over 20 women and directly referenced by a convicted pedophile. I have this very unfortunate feeling that neither of you or people like you will talk about it because your activism was never about protecting women. It was about controlling who gets to be one. You'll scream about trans people in restrooms or sports, but go completely silent when it's an actual predator tied to power. I have zero doubts that the MAGA cult will have a creative explanation for this one like they always do. If you are someone who claims to care about protecting women, then you need to demand the removal of Trump in office, because if you don't, then it's not advocacy, it's performative outrage for clicks and clout.
Donald Trump today told all his Republicans that they better behave and do what he says. Don't get distracted with the Epstein list. Don't get distracted with the emails that he's in. Do not get distracted by any of that. His direct quote today was, "We must get the government open. It's time for Republicans to do what they have to do." So, nobody get distracted by the Epstein emails. Don't you dare listen to them. Stick to your job. Do what I say. So Donald Trump and his allies are pushing hard on reopening the government and focusing GOP energy on that goal, right? And at the same time, Trump is simultaneously ignoring and dismissing the calls to release these Epstein files. He calls them a scam, he calls them a hoax, fake news, all of that. Now, I'm one of those people that always said I will never deflect from anything or anyone that could harm children, young girls, etc., etc. Correct? Correct. So what he's doing now is that he's shifting the spotlight onto the government shutdown. Open the government. Epstein files, the emails. How annoying, you peasants. So even though many Republicans are demanding transparencies, you'll still find those mamaluka that are like, mama, yeah, whatever you say to us, the big hand. So listen to Trump on his social media platform. Their new scam is what will be forever called the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And my past supporters have bought into this bull. Hook, line, and sinker. What? Now, do you remember when I told you that in the 80s I saw an interview where Trump said that if he ever ran for president, he was going to run Republican? Because Republicans, they'll believe anything. His words, not mine. But he preyed on manipulating the conspiracy theories that now became the MAGA movement. So transparency versus government, this is exactly what I say. I don't trust either side. They are basically, both sides are playing chess, but the same hand is moving the chess pieces. And with this, we're done, okay? Anybody that keeps on defending all of this, we're done. It's out. The cat's out of the bag. We're done. Every time someone powerful gets caught in a scandal, the same words appear to come out of their mouth out of nowhere. It's a hoax. And now it's Donald Trump's turn. The newly released Epstein emails are out, and his name is right there. He's mentioned several times in official congressional documents. These aren't rumors. They aren't conspiracy theories. They're real emails from the Epstein estate. In one message from April 2011, Jeffrey Epstein wrote to Ghislaine Maxwell saying, "The dog that hasn't barked is Trump." Then it has the victim's name And Epstein goes on to say, he spent several hours with such and such person at my house. He has never once been mentioned. Like, Epstein is surprised of this. Another email from 2019 claims that Trump knew about the girls and had asked Ghislaine to stop. Now see, when we're talking about charges, they want to find out, did he know about the girls or did he not know? You see what I mean? Those lines are part of the latest release from the House Oversight Committee. Not me, the House Oversight Committee. Ask your ChatGPT, Google it. It's public knowledge and it's all over the place today. So when these documents surfaced, the White House scrambled. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt dismissed the story as a fake narrative. What? She's blaming Democrats for weaponizing gossip. But it's in the House. But it's in the committee. It's there! Now she says that the victim in question is Virginia Giuffre. Goes on to say that she never accused Trump of any crime. But if you watch the documentary on Netflix about the victims and the Epstein things, there are women that were friends with Virginia, and they all support each other, and they're all saying that what the others, each one of them are saying, is validated by the other one's testimony, etc., etc. So there are allegations. So that's her official statement. It's nothing. Funny how they were so excited about releasing it. They flip-flopped. So the issue isn't that Trump can be charged with anything, even if he's shown in these emails so far, right? The point that people are making is that his name is repeatedly in Epstein's own correspondence. You can't pretend you don't know. So Epstein and Trump both claimed that they barely knew each other. But soon after, House Republicans released more than 20,000 pages of Epstein files. The Democrats are demanding unredacted versions while the Department of Justice keeps quiet, claiming there's nothing more to see. It's a full-blown political circus. And the pattern's always the same.